What's up everybody, Mike McIntyre here back with a brand new video. This is another boot part of the Initiator Pack from Adidas that was just released last week. I have in front of me the Nemeziz 18.1. This is actually the first review I've ever done on the Nemeziz 18.1. I've done a review of the Nemeziz 18 Plus, but never the 18.1. So thank you guys for stopping by. As always, this will be an unboxing, review, and on feed. Stay tuned and let's get into this video. Before we start, I need to give a quick shout out to Evangelista Sports for sponsoring this video. If you guys are interested in any of the latest gear, be sure to check out that first link down below in the description. It'll be a direct link to these boots right here, but feel free to browse the site for any of the latest gear. Thank you to Evangelista Sports for hooking me up, and let's get right into the video. Alright guys, so the box is very simple given that it's an 18.1 model. It's only a flip out box. Let's unbox it, show everything inside, and get into the shoes themselves. Okay, so we'll take everything out. Okay guys, so given that it is an 18.1 model, we don't get a string bag actually in this model, even though it's probably considered a top of the line model just with laces instead of without laces. Adidas don't throw in the string bag, so that is a bit of a drag. This is a very solid release and a very probably underrated boot as well. I think the 18.1, the Nemeziz model, is actually a very good boot. I'm not a big fan of the laceless one, to be honest. I think of all the laceless boots, I haven't seen the new Copa 19, but of all the other laceless boots, I think the Predator is the only other one worth buying, given that it sort of was the first one to sort of, you know, give you that laceless status. It's comfortable, it still locks in the boot well. With the X and the Nemeziz, I don't think the laceless models are all that good, to be honest. I mean, they're solid, but I would just prefer the ones with laces instead of the models without. So I think this is a great boot right here. It's very comfortable overall. It gives you a nice balance between both the X and the Predator. So if you're someone that's not quite a speed boot guy, but not quite a sort of comfort, power, control, touch kind of boot guy, this is probably the one for you. It's kind of a happy medium between the two. It's light, it's sort of nimble, gives you that sort of agile, sort of one-to-one thing that you get from a speed boot, but with a little extra padding that sort of comforts the touch, if you will, but still not to the extent that gives you those sort of control elements and that really padded feel like you would get from Predator. So I hope that sort of sums up where this boot sort of fits in Adidas' lineup. It's an extremely solid release. If we talk about the colorway alone, I think this looks fantastic. It's a really cool design with a white base, these sort of jagged paint splatters on the side in black to touch up the white areas. I think it looks good, and then you have this sort of transition into the Agility Knit 2.0 part that we have in the forefoot here. This is quite soft. It's padded, it's comfortable, it's soft, it's flexible. It's not as soft as you get on a Predator, but that's also because it's a little bit thinner too, so it's sort of like the X, and that's where it fits in between the two models, if you will. This really sort of sums up the kind of touch that you get between the two models. The sole plate is kind of cool. I think it would look better with a bit of a chromier sort of finish to it, but that's kind of cool. You get a little fade there. It just adds to the sort of effect of the shoe, but I think the upper looks really, really good. There's a look at the inside. As far as the actual materials go, the Nemeziz 18 didn't really change all that much from the first iteration of the Nemeziz. You have these Agility Knit bandage systems that are these sort of elasticated bands that they've wrapped around the forefoot and the midfoot area of the shoe to really create a unique upper material. It's kind of nice that Adidas have a different upper material across all four silos. Nike, on the other hand, all their top end models are kind of fly knit. I mean, they've sort of switched things around a little bit now with the Phantom Vision. So that is this sort of Agility Knit bandage. In the forefoot, like I mentioned before, you have this Agility Knit 2.0. So it is a synthetic knitted material, if you will. It's very soft and plush and padded. It's not, again, it's not as padded nor as soft as the Predator, but it's not quite as thin either as you get on the X. So it really falls in between the two. And then you have an internal heel counter. Of course, you have this torsion frame, which is sort of a modification of the speed frame. I'd prefer a little bit more of an external heel counter here if it was like a normal speed frame. Studs layout are kind of the same. The stud shape's a little unique. It's like these sort of droplet studs where one end is curved, one end is flat. I could care less about that, to be honest. I just like that the studs are placed where they are. Stiffener bars through the middle, and that is pretty much it. I mean, there's not too much to talk about. I love the colorway. I'm really a big fan of it. I think it looks good. So that is pretty much it. I'm going to slip them on feet. We'll talk about fit and feel, and let's move on to the next part of the video. So slipping these things on feet, again, it's exactly like I mentioned before. It's a nice happy medium between a control boot and a speed boot. Gives you some padding, but not too much. It's still comfortable, but still giving you that thin one-to-one feel. So in terms of ultimate comfort, I still think the Predator for me personally is the most comfortable boot, but this is a little bit more comfortable than the X in my opinion. Again, just because it's got that sort of comforting sort of bandage that stretches and wraps around your foot, and it's sort of a nice padded feel in the forefoot. Fit and feel, I mean, if you have any sort of average width foot, you're going to get into them fine. Even a wider foot, you'll be better in this compared to an X. I personally still like the Predator the best, but again, go true to size. It's an Adidas model. Go true to size. Anything with Adidas, they're very consistent with their sizing, and that is what's great across their entire lineup. Again, I still think the Predator is a little bit more comfortable if I had to choose between the two, but this is not far off, and it's definitely more comfortable on a wider foot for me, in my opinion, compared to the X model. So that is pretty much it. I don't have too much to say. Again, I'm a big fan of this colorway. I think it actually looks really, really good. In terms of all the colorways in the pack, the Predator is by far the best, but this is a very close second. I really like this colorway. I think it looks cool. Very unique design. I'm a fan of the Nemeziz 18.1. I really think this is a boot I could recommend to a lot of people. So that's all I have for today, guys. Thank you for stopping by. As always, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I've got a lot of great content coming. So subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, leave a like, and as always, I'm Mike McIntyre. I'm signing off for now. I'll catch you guys in my next video. And until then, take care.